Thomas Hobbes, born in April, 1588, died in December, 1679, was an English philosopher best known for his book Leviathan, published in 1651. Hobbes's Leviathan is one of the most influential works of political philosophy and Western thought, laying the foundation for modern political theory. In this book, Hobbes introduces his concept of the social contract and the necessity of an all-powerful sovereign to maintain peace and prevent civil war. The context of Leviathan. The publication of Leviathan in 1651 came at a critical time in English history. The English Civil War, 1642 to 1651, had recently ended, and the country was grappling with issues of authority, power, and governance. The execution of King Charles I in 1649 and the subsequent establishment of the Commonwealth under Oliver Cromwell raised questions about the legitimacy of rulers and the nature of political authority. Hobbes wrote Leviathan in exile in France, where he observed the instability of the English monarchy and sought to provide a philosophical justification for a strong, centralized authority to avoid future conflicts. Hobbes's view of human nature. At the heart of Leviathan is Hobbes's pessimistic view of human nature. Hobbes believed that humans are naturally selfish and motivated by self-interest. In what he called the state of nature, individuals would act according to their desires and fears, leading to constant competition, conflict, and violence. In Hobbes's famous words, life in the state of nature would be solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. Without a higher authority to impose order, Hobbes argued, society would descend into chaos and anarchy. The social contract. To escape the state of nature, Hobbes proposed the concept of a social contract. According to Hobbes, individuals would willingly surrender some of their freedoms and submit to the authority of a ruler or government in exchange for protection and security. This contract is not between the ruler and the people, but rather among individuals themselves, who agree to obey the sovereign in order to avoid the horrors of the state of nature. The social contract is the foundation of civil society, and its purpose is to create a stable environment in which people can live and prosper, the sovereign and absolute power. Hobbes's idea of the sovereign is central to his political theory. In Leviathan, Hobbes argues that the only way to maintain peace and prevent civil war is to have a ruler with absolute power. This sovereign could take the form of a monarch, an assembly, or another type of governing body, but Hobbes insisted that the sovereign must have unlimited authority to make and enforce laws. Once the social contract is established, individuals are bound by their agreement to obey the sovereign, who represents the collective will of the people. The sovereign's power is absolute because it is necessary to prevent the return of the state of nature and the chaos it entails. The role of religion in Leviathan. Religion plays a significant role in Leviathan. Hobbes lived in an era where religion and politics were deeply intertwined, and religious conflicts often contributed to political instability. In his work, Hobbes sought to separate religious authority from political authority. He argued that the sovereign should have control over religious practices to prevent religious disputes from destabilizing society. According to Hobbes, the sovereign should dictate the public religious doctrine, and individuals must conform to it in their outward actions, even if they hold personal religious beliefs. This ensures social order and prevents conflicts that arise from religious differences. The metaphor of Leviathan. The title of Hobbes's book, Leviathan, is a reference to a biblical sea monster, symbolizing the immense power and authority of the sovereign. Hobbes used this metaphor to illustrate the idea that the state, or commonwealth, is an artificial entity created by individuals through the social contract. Just as the biblical Leviathan is a powerful creature that rules over the sea, the sovereign in Hobbes's political philosophy is a powerful ruler who governs society. The Leviathan represents the collective will of the people, embodied in the form of the sovereign, who has the authority to maintain peace and order. Criticism and legacy. Hobbes's Leviathan was met with both praise and criticism upon its publication. Some readers appreciated his clear articulation of the need for a strong, centralized authority, while others, particularly royalists and religious leaders, took issue with his rejection of the divine right of kings and his subordination of religious authority to political power. Hobbes's ideas also faced opposition from supporters of parliamentary government, who argued that his emphasis on absolute sovereignty undermined individual liberty and democratic principles. Despite the controversy surrounding Leviathan, Hobbes's work had a lasting impact on political thought. Hobbes's influence on modern political theory. Leviathan has had a profound influence on modern political theory, particularly in the areas of social contract theory and the nature of political authority. Hobbes's ideas about the social contract were later developed and refined by philosophers such as John Locke and Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who presented different visions of the relationship between individuals and the state. Hobbes's insistence on the need for a strong central authority to maintain order also influenced later political thinkers like Niccolò Machiavelli and Friedrich Nietzsche, who shared Hobbes's concerns about the dangers of anarchy and disorder. Hobbes and absolutism. While Hobbes is often associated with the idea of absolute monarchy, his theory of sovereignty is not limited to monarchies. In fact, Hobbes's concept of the sovereign could be applied to any form of government, as long as it has the absolute authority to maintain order and prevent civil war. Hobbes believed that the form of government was less important than the extent of its power. Whether the sovereign was a single ruler, a group of individuals, or an assembly, what mattered most to Hobbes was that the sovereign's authority was not challenged, as any challenge to the sovereign's power could lead to instability and conflict. Leviathan's relevance today. Although Leviathan was written in the 17th century, Hobbes's ideas remain relevant to contemporary political debates. Issues of authority, power, and the relationship between individuals and the state continue to be central to discussions of political theory and practice. Hobbes's emphasis on the need for a strong, centralized authority to prevent chaos is echoed in modern debates about the role of government in maintaining law and order. Additionally, Hobbes's ideas about the social contract have been influential in the development of democratic theory, particularly in relation to the idea of government by consent. Thomas Hobbes's Leviathan is a foundational text in the history of political philosophy. Its central arguments about human nature, the social contract, and the necessity of an all-powerful sovereign continue to shape political thought today. Hobbes's belief in the need for a strong, centralized authority to maintain peace and order has been both criticized and embraced by later thinkers, but his influence on political theory is undeniable. Through Leviathan, Hobbes provided a philosophical framework for understanding the relationship between individuals and the state, as well as the challenges of maintaining stability in a society prone to conflict.